Helen Yaffe is a professor of Cuban economic history with the London School of Economics and joins me now. Good morning. Thanks for being on our program.
Good morning.
So this flight is just the start. Over the next couple of years, there are going to be as many as 110 flights per day between the U.S. and Cuba. Just how significant is this for the Cuban economy?
It is significant, but to put it in perspective, there are already 17 chartered flights from the United States to Cuba every day. So the expectation is that the new scheduled flights will absorb many of those who are currently going on their more expensive chartered flights. Nonetheless, we have seen a significant increase in the numbers visiting Cuba from the United States. And in fact, there was an increase in 2015 of 500,000 of overall tourists visiting Cuba from the previous year.
Is it safe to say there is going to be an explosion of American tourists to Cuba?
I think that probably it will be a gradual increment. There are a couple of limitations that this sort of new industry faces. The first is that United States citizens are still actually denied the right to go to Cuba as tourists. So they're still subject to stating which of 12 categories they fit into. The categories include things like government business or religious business, educational trips, and so on. So that's one element that will possibly see some break on the number of US visitors. On the other side is the challenges that the Cubans face in building up the infrastructure, their tourism infrastructure. And of course, that infrastructure has to be repaired, maintained, expanded and supplied while the US embargo continues. And that creates incredible challenges for Cuba just in terms of, importing the supplies and stuff necessary, although it is also acting to bolster domestic production within Cuba because they're forced to supply the tourist industry domestically to the extent that that's possible.
As someone who studies Cuba, is there a part of you that's concerned about Cuba being able to maintain its character and its history, given this influx of Americans and other travelers?
I think, that is an issue, and we'll have to see how the Cubans deal with that. But, Cuban culture is incredibly rich and very strong. They have a lot to offer for tourists. So we may see that actually the influence works the other way around, that people are very, taken on board by the rich Cuban culture. They have 7 sites that are declared cultural heritage of humanity by UNESCO. They have many biospheres, protected biospheres and so on. And of course they have, 250 national monuments. So there will be a lot of people, there's already been interviews, people saying they want to go and see, the mausoleum of Che, and they will also be there to learn from Cuban culture. The fact that there will be so many US visitors, yes, it will have an impact on Cuba and Cuban culture, but remember that there are last year already 3.5 million, including a lot of visitors from Canada and from Europe. There'll also be an increment in the number of visitors from China and from Latin America, which of course has many cultural similarities.
All right, Helen Yaffe, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.